In this video, I'm going to be talking about why I'm changing things up. I mean, aside from being injured and that sort of thing, it should be fairly obvious. For the sake of this video, I'm going to say there's two schools of thought when it comes to strength training. There's the go heavy every week, go as heavy as you can school, and then there's the high rep school. You know, you don't have to ever go to your 1 rep max, you can rep it out. If you combine both of those, because both have their place, that's basically periodization. Sometimes there's a place for going heavy, sometimes there's a place for high reps, and sometimes there's a place for switching up the variations altogether. Periodization, right? Mix the two, essentially. I mean, think about it like this. If you go heavy every week, I mean, going heavy is the quickest way to get strong, right? Okay. But it's also the quickest way to get injured. If you're going heavy every single week, especially when you get towards the max of your potential, I mean, your risk of injury goes up exponentially, and that's not really debatable. If you're going light all the time, like say you could squat 405 pounds for 10, 15 reps, you are strong enough to squat 600. You have the strength. But if you've never put 600 pounds on your back and walked it out, unracked it, and stepped back with it, you've never done it. You know what's going to happen. I mean, are you going to be able to walk it out? Or are you going to? Is your nervous system adapted to that? So you kind of have to do both, in my estimation, if you want to be a successful power lifter. Plus, there's the mental aspect of it. You know, you might have the strength to go heavy, but if you're untested until you put that weight on your back, you know, it's hard to say what's going to happen. So I think you really need to do both. If you disagree with that, throw me a comment. Let's talk about it. So I'm at the point, for safety, I want to do lower weight, higher rep exercises, but that can be a real grind. You know, as you progress with higher reps, it just becomes a pain in the butt to have to crank those out every workout. So what you really want to do is try to make those reps as efficient as possible, and that's usually controlled with tempo, that kind of thing. If you like say did a set with constant tension and you didn't set it down or lock it out, and you did them nice and slow, it's going to become way harder than if you're just throwing the weight and bouncing it off your chest. Does that make sense? I mean, it should be fairly obvious. The slower you go, you keep that constant tension on, you're not going to be able to do nearly as many reps or the same amount of weight. Well, that's basically what I'm doing with the deadlifts right here. The first thing I'm doing is I'm using a snatch grip, or I'm widening my grip, which pulls me down closer to the bar, which makes the range of motion that you have to pull longer. That's a little bit harder than a regular pull. And I'm controlling the tempo both down and up. And then finally, the third thing I'm doing is, instead of bouncing the weight off the floor and getting that little bit of reverb, I'm just kissing the weight. I'm not setting the weight down because I don't want to take tension off the set, but I'm not slamming it off the ground either to give myself assistance coming back up again. I want every single one of those reps to be controlled. And it works. Now the question is, how well is this going to translate to my 1 rep max? If I do a training block for 4 to 6 weeks, will I expect to see my 1 rep max to go up? I suspect it will, but the only way to find out is to do it. So for the next 6 weeks or so, I'm going to be doing my sets of deadlift like this, if for no other reason than it's just safer. My back's all messed up, and I really don't want to risk the injury, so I'm going to just give this a try. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work, and I get my money back. And I'm going to be competing in March here in Las Vegas, Nevada. The team's getting back together. Some of my old team's going to be competing, so it'll be a nice little reunion. I have a few months to get ready for this, so we're going to find out if this works or not. I suspect it will, though, and I think it's going to also improve overall a lot of the imbalances that I've kind of had or gained over the last few months. Those nagging little injuries, I think that this is going to be better all around, but it's going to be an experiment. You guys get to join me to see if Monkey Boy can make it happen or not. Do all that stuff, like, subscribe, comment. If you got anything you want to add, hey, hit me up. Peace.